Juliette Binoche, star of such films as Blue and The Unbearable Lightness of Being, is often described by her directors as luminous, angelic, and mysterious. On this program, Anthony Minghella, the director of her new film, The English Patient, called her, quote, his favorite actress in the world. In the film, which won the Golden Globe Award for Best Drama, she plays Hannah. I'm pleased to have her on this broadcast. Welcome. It's great to have you here. Tell me, I'm in love with this movie, as you probably have heard. Michael was here, Anthony was here, Willem Dafoe was here, Kristen was here, which I know you talked about. Were you in love with the book from the first reading?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Very much so. I read it in English. I didn't understand everything because it was quite difficult. Yeah. Then I read the script, and I fell in love with the script. I couldn't even, finish the script because the last pages, I was trying so much. I couldn't read through, it was too much of a rain in front of me, But then I read the book in French again because I wanted to know everything in it. So, and I really appreciated it.
The part of Hannah, for the audience who hasn't seen this film, tell me about Hannah. First as written by Michael, and then enlarged on by Anthony.
It's
and
true.
Then interpreted by you.
Right. I think she's different from the book because I would say she's almost darker in the book, as in a film. But the interesting thing for the film was, to start from a very low, things happening. She's losing her boyfriend, she's losing her best girlfriend, she's losing almost everything.
Everything she loves.
Exactly, and I think that bit by bit, hope's coming back to her and taking care of this English patient, who's going through a very strange, experience, of being like a prisoner of his body and suffering so much, and light's coming back to him also. I think that the relationship they have together brings her back some kind of hope. So I think that in the film you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And, she's alone on the track at the end of the movie, but yes, she's full of life and she's ready for her own... For
the rest of her life.
Exactly. Which in the book it's more complex in a way because you don't know if she's mad or something, there's so many things happening under. You're wondering sometimes. And there's one scene, because some people said, it was maybe too angelic in the movie, but there's the scene, when she take this kind of, the cross, to frighten the crowds. There's this moment of kind of, you don't know whether she's going to be mad or, what's happening in her, and that's, I don't know, it's so complex. When you imagine a film and when you see it, it's so different, so when you read a book and when you see a movie, it's so different too,
When you approach a role, how do you prepare? You read this book in English, then you read it in French, and then you had lots of questions, and he had questions of you, the director.
The best thing is to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
So to open up and to be
open to experience.
Exactly.
And reaction.
Exactly, and to be present is the most difficult thing, actually,
Why is that?
Because you have to be there, and listening to someone, you have to be totally there and open, physically, spiritually, psychologically, in every level. So that was the big work for me in that sense, that anything could happen. So that's why sometimes you let it go more easily in a way when you're more prepared. You don't have the will of giving out something. You don't know what's going to happen. In the morning I'm kind of, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's frightening, and at the same time it's exciting. And so I was full of, in the morning of, everyday shooting, I was kind of joyful, but I was so, I was trembling all the time.
Trembling? Because you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know how you would react to
I remember Anthony, sometimes he was just saying, well, now forget everything, just, which in other words, meant fly, just go, just forget about everything, and that was scary.
Yeah. Your parents were both stage actors, divorced, but both in the theater. Is that why you became an actor, because you just had so much of that in your genes, that sense of love of...
It's so difficult to explain why you're an actor, but it's...
Did you ever think about anything else?
Oh yeah, I wanted to be a painter, And when I was even younger, I wanted to take all the papers that were out, you know, on the floor in the street. You know, I wanted to, to clean the streets. That's what the thing, the kind of thing I wanted to do when I was a little child. But
to be a cleaning person?
Well, to take things out that people forget and things like that. I wanted to do pastries also.
To be a cook?
To be a cook, but for
make
pastries.
Yeah, pastries, yes,
yeah,
yes.
It's much nicer. And
do you cook?
I do sometimes, yeah.
It's a creative thing for you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think in any kind of work you can be creative. It's not the name of what you're doing that makes you creative.
I know. In other words, creativity can come to any task.
Exactly.
You went to Paris when you were 15.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
But I was born in Paris.
But you were born in Paris. But you lived outside of Paris.
Yes.
Yes. And went to school in Paris at 15.
Mm-hmm.
Intending to be an actor.
Well, I didn't know whether I wanted to be a painter or an actress or whatever. I didn't mind, actually. It wasn't the purpose. It was just to be creative and do something out of my hands, out of my mind, and thoughts and feelings, and that was it, you know. But it's true, as an actor, you involve yourself physically, you know, and it's much more dangerous in a way, but it's very exciting.
You once said, I thought was an amazing sense of insightful, you worked as a clerk in a store.
Yeah.
And you said you learned as much from watching people in a store.
It's the same thing as, you know, when you're acting, you have to listen to people. And you have to watch and observe and learn from that. Otherwise, you can't give something back on the, you know, on the camera, because we're actors for the others, not for ourselves.
Yeah. Did Goddard give you a break? Did he create?
God?
No, God. Yes, did God? Jean-Luc Godard. Did he create a character for you?
I remember I did some tests.
That was early on.
That was
like
one of my first casting thing. And I came back like 5 times. It was a nightmare. And it's true, I wasn't chosen. And 2 weeks afterwards, they phoned me up and say, well, I thought of a character, you know, for you, so I wrote something. And so that's why, you know, I ended up being in his movie. Yeah. That was one of my first jobs. And
did it make a difference for you?
Afterwards?
Yeah.
No.
You did.
You know, it's never finished. It's not because you've done that role that you're gonna, you know,
it didn't open doors or anything.
I've never felt, you know, that that's it. You know, now I can be. Everything's fine. It's easy. It's never easy. You know, even when you've done something so special and even good. You know, the next step is very difficult. You know, because you don't know how shall I put it? You know, it's just that. I wish I could do another English Patient, but it's not that easy, you know, to find that kind of movie. It's so rare when you have that kind of involvement.
I wonder why that is. Why something so good is so rare.
Because making a movie is very difficult. It's a miracle, you know. It's
a miracle when you have something like this, when it all comes together. The right cast, the right story, the right director, the right producer. And the whole experience is...
Each film is dangerous because you never know how it's going to end up anyway. But I could feel during the shooting that something was going on. So it was
some magic, some feeling of...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that since the first day of rehearsal, you know, it was just obvious.
Yeah. There is a story going around that poor Rafe was sitting there with all of his makeup on, which took hours. And you would go around and whisper things into his ear to try to make him laugh. And if he laughed, he would break up his makeup. And you were ruining his day every day.
Sometimes it was a, don't make me laugh, don't make me laugh.
What would you say to him?
What did I say to him? I don't remember, but we had good time. I had a good time.
This is a clip in which Caravaggio, played by Willem Dafoe, is challenging you to ask the English patient, played by Rafe, his identity, claiming that he is a spy. Here it is.
You're in love with him, aren't you? Your poor patient. You think he's a saint because of the way he looks? I don't think he is.
I'm not in love with him. I'm in love with ghosts. So is he. He's in love with ghosts.
What if I told you he did this to me?
How could he have? When?
I'm one of his ghosts, and he wouldn't even know it.
I don't know what that means.
Ask your saint who he is. Ask him who he's killed.
Wow. You've seen it 5 times. Normally, you don't watch your films.
No, just
More than
once,
once,
and that's it. You know, that's enough. Usually, one time is enough. Though you know.
Why is that? I mean, some actors
Because
like to watch it and watch it. We're looking for ways that.
I'm interested in the process of working, not very much on the result.
In result.
In a way, but this film, you know, there's the half of it, you know, at least, you know, I'm not in the movie, so I was discovering something I didn't know about. So that was, you know, a mystery for me that I wanted to see. And also, there were so many premieres everywhere, and so sometimes I felt like watching it, you know. It's different when you watch a movie with the friends, you know, with your friends or your parents or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you know, then it's, you feel like sharing that, you know, especially when you love the movie. But usually, you know, what for? You know, why do you need to see that much, you know? You've done it. You know the movie.
What do you like best about acting?
It's forget yourself, to forget yourself.
Becoming someone else.
Yeah. Well, when you play a situation, when you listen to someone, you forget about yourself. You just, instead of what's going on. That I love.
Why?
And also be part of a team, you know. It's individuals' work, but at the same time, it's a teamwork. And if an ego is too strong in a way, it breaks the energy. So I like when everything is working together and trying to do the best thing for the same purpose.
And that's rare.
That can happen. Yeah. That happens. Blue was a good experience as far as, you know, as a teamwork. It was good.
Was he a good director?
Kieslowski?
Yes.
Oh, yes. No doubt about it.
Had an influence on you?
Every day when I was shooting with him, of course. Yeah. Mm.
He died when? 6 months ago? Was it about 6 months ago?
I think it's a little more than that.
Yeah.
Mm.
What was he like as a director?
First of all, he was a good person, which I think goes together sometimes, you know, a good person being a good director. Because, you know, they try to help you, you know. Some directors, they don't care about actors, you know. They don't try to help them, you know. They're more interested into what they think and what they, you know, how you should play that because they thought about it, you know. It's like you have to be in the puzzle, you know, and to match what they thought about. And making a movie, for me, it's different because it's a teamwork again, you know. You're trying your best and to get as close as possible with the other. And I think Kieslowski was, he didn't care about himself, you know, as I didn't care about myself. It was about the story of the film and doing the best as we could.